Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to Cantina Social Hour. Been a minute. Good to see everybody that is with us so far. Very nice. Very nice. Hello to Dodgson. Dodgson, how's it going? Hey, Britt. Good to see you. Dave, how's it going? And I see you in the waiting room too. Sweet. Matt, how you doing? Good to see you. Pico B1, how you doing? Jason, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Better A Bob, hello. New Year, same old torture towards our bank accounts. Absolutely, every year. Never fails. Never fails. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining. It's been a bit since we've done one of these for no other reason other than I've just been extremely busy. Super busy. I work, crazy job, go to school at night, and then other stuff that I have going on, all kinds of crazy things. So I keep super busy. I wish that I could only do YouTube and only do YouTube all the time, 24/7, 365 days a year. But I can't. That will not put food on the table. That will not pay for toys. That will not, yeah. So good to see everybody who is with us. Thank you, Jason. Yeah. It was time for a change. Bob, thank you. Justin, how's it going? Good to see you. All right. Awesome. Dodgen, so autocorrect. Very cool. So I see that our pal Jurassic Dave is backstage. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in so he can hang out with us.
Hello. Hey, everyone. Hey. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to get my weekend started. It's my birthday weekend, so I'm pretty
happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm hyped. And it's a 3-day weekend too because of the Monday Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. So it's gonna be a good long weekend, and I'm all here for it.
Good. Yeah.
Cool. I hear we're gonna get a lot of rain here in SoCal tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
And Monday. So I might
Is
not.
Is that usual where you're at? I know LA is pretty dry.
Yeah. This is kind of the rainier time of year, but it's not. We usually don't get like all the rain that's been going on lately. And I will be in LA tomorrow, so yeah, I'll probably get. It'll be raining all in Southern California, I think, tomorrow. So we'll get to enjoy that. So
yeah, it's pretty mild here. It should be a lot colder. It's like in the 50s. Oh right no! On. Hope that wasn't a toy.
No, it was my guitar stand. Thankfully, no guitar on it.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Really appreciate that. And thank you, Jason. Happy 3-day birthday weekend. That's the best kind to have, right?
Awesome,
you're gonna have it's good to fall on a long weekend. You too, Britt. Awesome. Happy birthday to you as well. That's awesome. Thank you, Dodgson. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, awesome. So what's everybody been up to? Has anybody bought any new toys? Has anybody collected anything new? I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in the toy world, some good, some bad, some frustrating. But it seems like there's toys out there. So, I guess that's a good thing. Dave, anything new in your collection?
Yeah, I added some Star Wars stuff, some Jurassic Park, Jurassic World stuff. Let's see here.
Nice.
I got the Darth Maul this week.
Ah, sweet.
I haven't been getting vintage collection. I got the Ila Secura. Came in. This is all Amazon.
Oh, that's awesome.
I haven't opened anything. Uh-oh, I think I knocked my plug out. There we go.
That is rad. I haven't gotten those yet.
Yeah, they came in from Amazon. Sorry about that. I bumped my wire out, showing my toys off. I don't know if my camera will come back on.
It happens. It happens. And we're live, when you're live, anything can happen. And it does happen, and you just never know. You just never know.
I think this is on my end.
Yeah, that's part of that's part of the fun of being live, is that anything can happen. But we can hear you, so that's a plus.
I got let's see what
All right, we're gonna let Dave resolve the camera issue, and then we'll bring him right back into the chat. Yeah, so that Ayla looks really cool. The mall looks cool. I have those on order too, but I haven't gotten them yet, so I'm looking forward to those. Yeah, Ayla Sakura. I mean, I really love the Jedi figures, the 3 3/4 back in like 2002, and when they started doing all those Jedi figures, that was a really good time. And they did them throughout the next decade, and then they kind of stopped for like a long time, but it's nice to see that they're bringing those back. And in Black Series too, because I think in Black Series, what is there's like Plo Koon and Kit Fisto, and is that it? As far as like random Jedi, Mace Windu, but he's kind of more of a secondary character. He's not really like a random Jedi. And then yeah, so Ayla Secure is really cool. I'm really glad that she's finally in the Black Series, and I haven't been buying all the Black Series. I've kind of been like more picking and choosing because the price increases, and it's just really, you got to focus. There's just so many things to collect, so I'm trying to be a little more disciplined with it. But yeah, it's nice that we have Jedi figures. Britt says that they hit different. Yep, they absolutely do. So it's really cool to have those finally, because we've been asking for that kind of thing for a long time. And Cantina Aliens, and of course we don't really get too many Cantina Aliens in Black Series. So yeah, hopefully we get more of that in the future. So Matt saying pre-ordered 10 VC Dark Troopers because they all showed up. Looking forward to the new indie stuff. Yep. The Dark Troopers. So I have 5 of them loose so far, and I have 1 carded. But I would like to get more because they look really cool. And I have them on my Mandalorian shelf right here. You can't see them because it's dark. But they're lined up. Like I put all the little spaces. What do you even call those? Little housings for them. I put those all together, and then I have the figures in there, and then I have some loose, and then I have that Mandalorian Vintage Collection like set that has the other one with the fire and stuff. So that is it's a fun little diorama. I did a video for that. I think it was November, I want to say. Dave, is it working now?
Yeah, I bumped the USB thing on my camera and it just stopped working, and I had to leave and come back.
One thing affects another and affects another. Yep. That's how it is.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
But
I really wish it would give us more Jedi and TVC. Absolutely. I mean, we have quite a few in the 3 3/4 line. But I'm always down for more Jedi as well. Jason, discipline may be the Jedi way, but my wallet says otherwise. Razor Crest setup is fired. Thank you, Britt. Yeah, that's for me, that's the fun of 3 3/4 is really like the world building and putting those scenes on the shelves and building out, the vehicles, the playset elements, the figures, and maybe you put your figures in a pose like doing battle or whatever. So every line is different, but that's what I love about 3 3/4. It's the world building is kind of unmatched. But yeah, I always say collect what you love, whatever makes you happy, and if it doesn't make you happy, then stop collecting, because there's other things in the world to enjoy. So here's a question you can answer, Dave. What was both of your favorite toy pickups last year?
Last year. What did we get last year? The tough one. I don't really usually think of it like that. I don't know, just things that I like, and then they sort of stick around as like a favorite for like a few years. Man, I don't know. Let's see. What were some of the big things in Jurassic last year? There was like the Dreadnoughtus. The Hammond
collection stuff was probably the bigger.
Yeah, Hammond collection stuff. Probably that T-Rex, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Star Wars stuff was like there was more exciting stuff, I think, in 2021 than there was in 2022. Price hikes and stuff and things getting on like a little bit less paint and everything. There's nothing that great. Let's see, did we get the Clone Wars stuff in the Black Series in this year in 22, or was that the year before?
Gosh, it all kind of melts together.
Yeah, I would say that Mace Windu or something. That was pretty awesome if that was in 2022.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Hammond Collection was a new thing last year, and it
Mm-hmm.
was I mean, to varying results. I feel like the dinosaurs are generally pretty solid. The
Mm-hmm.
humans, hit and miss. But yeah, that T-Rex is like definitive.
Yeah.
Like there sure it could there's certain things they could do if they wanted to make a 2.0 to build on what they did, but there's nothing that's ever been done in the scale that touches the Hammond Collection T-Rex. It's just like it's a thing of beauty. It really is.
Definitely, yeah. And we got two versions of them if you were lucky enough to get the San Diego Comic-Con version. A little bit different paint, a little darker.
Yeah, and they both look great.
Mm-hmm.
I have both versions, and I think you do too, don't you?
Yeah, I missed out, and because of our mutual friend Greg actually hooked me up with an extra, and I ended up securing one of those.
Oh yeah, Greg's a hero.
Yeah,
He really is.
definitely.
Yeah, so that was really cool, and it is neat. I go back and forth between which I like better. I kind of lean towards the mainline one only because the one that I have from the Outhouse playset has like really cloudy eyes and you can't see them clearly.
Oh no.
But they're both cool. They're both
Mm-hmm.
cool. I think if you get one, you don't need the other one necessarily, though. It's like unless you're like a collector and you want to have both. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're both solid. And even if you don't collect Jurassic, see what I did there? You can still really enjoy this T-Rex. And
Oh
I
yeah. Ask Tom, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Our pal Tom has it too, and he loves it. So it's all about the toys, right? The
Mm-hmm.
movies can be not great, but hey, good toys are good toys. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
talking
did
about
pick
Jurassic
up.
specifically, but in
Yeah,
general, movies.
I picked up this year a big Millennium Falcon from the Legacy Collection one.
Yeah.
On Facebook Marketplace. I know that's an old toy, but I always wanted one, and I got one at a good price, and it's just so cool to got it it's displayed and looking at it and stuff. And like you were talking about the world building with the 3 3/4, you're not going to get something like that in Black Series, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I got last year, and this isn't like a mainline mass produced thing, but I got this, and I've showed it on Instagram a couple of times. But I got
Nice.
this lightsaber, which I have all the sabers right here, and this is my first Neopixel lightsaber that I've gotten, and it's a company called Corbanth Lightsabers, and I do intend to review this because I told Corbanth I would do that. They were nice enough to. I had to wait a while. I had to wait like since June, and it came in December. But when it got here, it was so worth it, and it's just like the hilt is like perfect.
Wow.
It's amazing.
So shiny.
It is, and it's aluminum. It's like, and it has like actual like cast. I think they're cast off the actual like Graflex parts.
Cool.
So it's like the size and everything. It's
Mhm.
like a real Graflex, and it is customizable to some extent. Like it's currently configured to the Force Awakens,
Mhm.
but you can buy like the parts to make it like A New Hope or to
Mhm.
make it Empire Strikes Back because they are slightly different. But yeah, it's just gorgeous, and this blade comes out and everything, and
So
it's
cool.
it's awesome. But the electronics on this thing are killer. Like they totally beat out any Hasbro,
Mhm.
any Force Effects, any Master Replicas, anything like that. It's just really, yeah, it's bright.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really, really, really cool.
Now, is everything customizable on that? You can pick any color you want, or
Yeah, it changes color. It has a lot of features actually. Like I'm still finding things out about it after
oh,
having it
cool.
like a month. It's it's just like really cool. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
rad. It has like music, it has like characters like talking, and
Wow.
yeah, and it toggles through all kinds of like colors. So I mean you have just the basic, like I think I have it set on the Ray sound font right now. But you can it's doing the volume control. You can switch back and forth. You can go back or you can go forward in the cycle. But
Mhm.
basically, what it does is, even though the color may be the same from one character to another, like for example, like Luke and Rey, or Obi-Wan or whatever,
Mhm.
the the color of the blade isn't the exact same blue. Like they really matched it to the films, and also the sounds are different between the character sabers.
Mhm.
So that's a really cool thing that they did here, is that they were able to do all that in here. So it's really cool.
Nice, lots of attention to detail.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I dig it. Like I can't help. I get home from work and the first thing I do after I play with my dog is I pick it up and just like really like get in with it, because
Awesome.
it's a blast. It really is.
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see the review on that. That should be interesting. There's a lot there.
Yeah, I'm really excited to do that once I find some time.
Mhm.
That's kind of been the whole tricky thing with YouTube is, the time
Mhm.
that's needed to go into it. It's it's a lot of effort to make a video, and
Mhm.
then you want there to be a payoff when you're making a video. So it's you don't want 5 people to watch a video, right? So you put
Yeah.
time into it, and it's time consuming. It's at least a few hours to make a
Mhm.
5-minute video in most cases,
Oh,
but
yeah, at least, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, and then just having the time to do it. So I enjoy doing it, but it's yeah, no cars going off here. So I don't know. I saw that in the comments. I don't know what that's referring to. But that's definitely not here. I don't know about you, Dave. I don't hear any cars though.
I didn't hear a car. I heard the beeping. That was a lightsaber, right? It sounded like a microwave.
Yeah, that was the lightsaber beeping a
Yeah.
second ago. Yeah. Um, ghost sounds, right? If only Tom were here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So what else? Have you added anything else to the collection recently?
Let's see. I got this in the mail yesterday. The probably can't hear me. This Ellie escape Jeep from the part when she drives the Jeep away from the Velociraptor
Nice.
and turns the lights on. Yeah, I got that, and then I got the the Hammond collection. Ray Arnold came in the mail today. I got a couple of these. I'm looking forward to opening up this one. I'm sure it's a lot better than the Legacy collection. But yeah, I guess that's about it. Other than a couple Black Series over the last week or so.
Nice. Yeah, those are just starting to hit. I went to Target after work today, and I saw they had all the newer stuff out. And some older stuff too, some older attack packs that didn't hit too widely, but were I was surprised, like the new Ceratops was there, and what is it, the Rogopteryps something or other. Like I'm usually pretty good with these, but these are some pretty obscure
I don't know.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, everything they were releasing is like a dinosaur that I never knew before. I'm
Yeah,
not the
I know.
greatest with the
Like
names.
they've milked this toy line so much for the last several years that they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel now. And
Hmm.
that's kind of cool because no other company is doing that. So at least it's
Yeah,
introducing even like adults, right? Like people like
yeah,
us, like to these new species that we're not too familiar with.
yeah. I've definitely learned a lot from the Mattel line. Got myself a dinosaur book a few years ago to look up actual facts about the real animal.
Definitely. Better Ray Bob says the hardest part is finding the right music. Well, Better Ray Bob, if you need music, I do commission music. I make all my own music, and I've made music for other people too for their stuff. So if you need original music, hit me up. And I play guitar and everything. We can get you something. So let me
Yeah,
know.
definitely, it's good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. Dodgson, I'm gonna try and limit the amount of Hammond collection I buy. A lot of good stuff, some stinkers like a JP3 Raptor, but mainly I'm after clearance deals.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's impossible to pass up.
yeah. Sorry, Dave. I just gotta
figures. Yeah.
It's calling to me. What can I do? It's calling to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like addicting, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably be doing the same thing, just cycling through everything.
It's addicting. Like once you pick it up, it's hard to put down.
Hmm.
And I just have it here in my lap right now, like to grab it easy. Yeah. So what else? I'm trying to think. It's kind of been a weird time in toy collecting, honestly, because there's all these price increases. There's things that are hitting from pre-orders that hit early or they hit late. Things arriving damaged, and I feel like in general the toy collecting community's morale is kind of low.
Yeah,
And I
I
say
get
that
that.
largely focusing on like Hasbro Star Wars, but also like beyond that,
Mhm.
just in general, like I think like the morale amongst toy collectors seems kind of low lately. Like there's just so many factors and so many things going on, and it seems that not everybody is taking joy out of this hobby, right? So
Yeah. I think it kind of had a lot to do with the pandemic. I think everyone had their ways of collecting, their lines of collecting. We all had that shock to the system, and then everybody seemed to have a lot more money when we weren't spending it on other things during lockdown. People kind of ramped up what they were collecting, more things. Prices were cheap, and now we're having to adjust our budgets to a higher cost, lower
yeah,
quality across the board through all the manufacturers. It's kind of, more grounding, a grounding time, I guess, to just get back to the way it was probably.
right. Yeah, definitely. It's yeah, I mean toys were selling during, 2020 into 21, just like crazy. Like people were buying toys. They were using like,
Mhm.
their money to buy toys, and sales were up across the board. All the data, shows this. The companies were reporting that despite what was going on with the economy, despite what was going on with, people working, that people were still buying stuff. They were still buying toys and collecting. So, um, yeah. So I guess this is kind of just like, things are kind of shifting. And I heard this was a big thing too, and like with games, like board games and stuff. Hasbro was saying that,
Oh, okay.
those are huge during the
Mhm.
pandemic, but like now, like the sales of those have really slumped because maybe people are tired of being at home playing board games with
Mhm.
their families, and now they want to go
Yeah.
out, So, it makes sense. There are definitely a lot of factors at play though. And I feel like, I mean, I've been collecting, for a while, and I feel like this is kind of just, I don't know if it's a slump, or if it's going to be kind of like the end of the big collecting like boom that's been going on for like the last decade or so.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to be, before pandemic, a big, like, clearance picker. I would buy the things I really, really wanted and then fill in when I would see sales and clearances and stuff. And it seemed like that was not a thing in 2020, 2021. It was kinda like, buy it now or you're never gonna see it again, because there was just such high demand on everything. And, this past 6 months or so, seeing a lot of stuff going on clearance, a lot of Star Wars sitting around, because there was a good year and a half where Star Wars stuff was just not on pegs anywhere.
Yeah.
And, you know, now a lot with these price increases, I'm hearing other people say that too. It's just kind of like, should I buy this now or just wait until a sale or a clearance or something? And it kind of reminds me of like the over flooding that was going on with, like, after Force Awakens with Star Wars stuff, where a lot of that hit clearance, and you thought, oh, everybody needs this now. No, no, no. It's an adjustment period for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, no, we'll see, in the coming months, how things shape up, if things improve, or if it continues to be difficult for a lot of people. But, there's a lot of people that are maybe not checking out of the hobby, but they're definitely regulating themselves a little bit more.
Hmm.
And, again, a large part of that is the price increases. It's just things are really
Oh
like
yeah.
going up, and not just like a dollar or two, like some things are going up like pretty exorbitantly. Um, and that's affecting, how much people can buy. So it's a tricky thing. Like, it's a balance, right? Like you can't do like an uber fancy product for a mass released global toy line without making sacrifices,
Hmm.
like it can't be like there's so many amazing things they could probably do if you wanted to pay for $50 for a 6-inch figure.
Hmm.
It would be the greatest thing ever if you were only interested in a $50 figure, but that's not what these companies are about. Like Mattel, Hasbro, um, Playmates, whatever. They're interested in giving you something at a certain price point and balancing the costs out in order to do that. But in order to accomplish that, there's things that are taken, right? Little details that are omitted,
Mm-hmm.
little paint apps that are not included, or accessories, but despite that, the prices are
Yeah.
jumping up in huge increments, and I think that's probably been like the most stressful thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, the morale being low across the board because we're getting hit on both ends. Not only are the prices going up, the quality's going down a little bit. If they're just skipping on, maybe I'm not gonna paint it from the waist down, or I'm gonna skip some paint details. I'm not gonna paint the weapon accessory in the box, those sort of things. And yeah, and it's gonna be as I said, a time for adjustment for us as collectors. I think the companies are gonna have to adjust to see where their pricing can fall in line, how much they can do, and come up with like a better way to present the product to the consumer that there's a better balance that has, maybe more paint here and there. It looks a little bit better and the price is friendly enough, where when things start to balance out eventually. But yeah, it's an adjustment period for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to take a look at the comments and see what folks are saying here. So Britt, definitely scaling back this year, price increases, and just currently a lot of judgment from family, likening toy collecting to alcoholism and such. I mean, I've heard that before, and I've made that comparison myself. But one thing is potentially harmful to yourself and others, and another is you taking joy by having something that sparks your imagination and makes you happy to have. So pretty different. So Cute Fluff, thank you for joining us. Happiest of Friday the 13th. Usually my lucky days. I love Friday the 13th. I'm glad that today is Friday the 13th. Dodgson Geostern Bergia is the one that I'm definitely excited to own once it goes on clearance. Yeah, that one looks cool.
The Fitz Hammond collection, it'll hit clearance, that's for sure.
I know. Yeah, but toy collecting doesn't end with liver damage unless you fall in the wrong. So yeah, that's along the lines of what I was trying to get at. LBT, hello. Thank you for joining us. An adult with children's toys makes the family think unhealthy. They're collectibles. They're not toys. They're collectibles. Paul, thank you for joining us. Good to see you here with us this evening. Bob says the ball socket hips from TVC have me excited for Star Wars again. Looking forward for the next wave of Andor and Val. Yeah, the new barbell style hips that they're doing are amazing in TVC. Like, I always hated the other style that they've had because they're so hard to like move, and then like there's just not a whole lot of like ratcheting in there. Like, it's either going to be up all the way, like when you do that, when you move it, or it's going to go down. These new style hips, the barbell hips, they have a lot more like, you can dial them in a lot more to your liking and to balance them on your shelf. Like the older style was just not very user friendly. And they're really hard to twist sometimes, especially like on stormtroopers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's amazing that they made this innovation on these figures. Can't wait for Jurassic World figures from Mattel in 2023. Yep, 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park. Probably the greatest movie of all time. I mean, come on. Extremely looking forward to that VC Mandalorian Luke Skywalker, maybe that Mandalorian artillery trooper. Yeah, that'll be cool to, I'm always down for more troopers, more Mandos, for sure. Peak Obi-Wan, older collectors like myself really struggle. I found that I have a price ceiling with Star Wars, so I'm selective for sure these days. More world building, please. Joseph, people who pay $30 for figures get upset at the people that pay $10 for the same figure. I'm assuming this means like clearance, if the figure goes on clearance or something. Yeah, and that's always a tricky thing, because if you don't buy something at full price, the companies are going to be less likely to make more of it in the future, because if the stores clear them out, that means that the sales weren't what they expected, in most cases. So the toy company sees that, the retailer sees, and they're like, okay, well, I'm just not going to order that next time, and then the company has less incentive to make it for the retailer. So it's a tricky thing. It's not great when things go on clearance for that reason, but you can't blame people for taking advantage of deals when there's deals.
Yeah, again, with the balancing, like, we don't want it to be that there's no toys on the shelves at all, nothing in stock on websites because they didn't make enough, but that we don't, every time something hits clearance at large quantities, that's not good for the retailer or for that line. So hopefully they can balance it where they can keep things in stock at a competitive price, and maybe they don't hit clearance and everybody's happy.
Yep, definitely. Are you excited for the new Dinosaur movie 65? Because I'm excited for the movie.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, Adam
definitely.
Driver, come on, and dinosaurs.
Kylo Ren in Jurassic Park. Yeah.
I know. What more could you want? Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. What do you think, Dave?
Oh yeah, I heard some rumblings. Honestly, the day before the trailer dropped, I was like, "What is this?" And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, "Okay, cool, another dinosaur movie. This looks cool. It looks like sci-fi and walking with dinosaurs or whatever. I'm on board. Looks awesome."
It looks really cool. I'm really excited. And we don't get enough other than the Jurassic film, there's not really enough like dinosaur movies.
Yeah, and
So.
I'm obviously a big Jurassic fan, but why can't other people play in dinosaur sandboxes? Dinosaurs are for
Yeah.
everyone.
They're for everybody. Doesn't matter. There's no age limit on dinosaurs. Anybody can and should love dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't love dinosaurs, there's something wrong with you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Simpsons man, I literally created a spreadsheet today to track my pre-orders and help me manage my spending. Yes, that is good. That is a responsible thing to do, and it is, yeah, something I don't do, but it is the responsible thing to do. So I'm glad that you have more maturity than I do, Simpsons man. Joseph, Jay Leno seemed pretty normal, and he has a huge warehouse full of expensive cars. It's healthy to collect artifacts. If you have the means to do it, whether it's cars, whether it's toys, whether it's baseball cards, whatever, and it makes you happy and you're not hurting anyone else, then do it. It's life's short, far as we know, you only live once. Like
there shouldn't be a stigma attached to toy collecting. People collect all kinds of stuff if it's firearms or antiques or armor or army helmets or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
My grandpa
Collect what you
collected
like.
jukeboxes.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Justin, I think we are ready for new Haslab and TVC. We're overdue for a Haslab and TVC. I thought that for sure we were going to see it late last year, and we didn't. So my guess is that between now and Comic-Con, we're probably going to get an announcement just based on how long it's been. At the same time, there's been more Haslabs that have not funded, especially like Black Series and some other stuff. What was it? The Marvel, the Ghost Rider car.
Mm-hmm. That crashed.
So I think they're kind of putting the brakes a little bit on Haslab.
Mm-hmm.
But Star Wars Vintage Collection Haslabs are tried and true. They've done really well. So I think we will get one for sure.
I think it might tie into Mando in the spring sometime.
It could tie into the Mandalorian season 3. It could tie into Ahsoka. It could tie into, I don't know. There's a lot of things that people want, right? And there's a lot of things
those are the most successful. The Razor Crest during Mandalorian season 2, the Ghostbusters Proton Pack during Afterlife release. So if they have like a film or a television show to promote it, that really does, I feel like, wonders for it. Which doesn't say a lot for the Riva lightsaber.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And there's things that are really rooted in the original trilogy that people still ask for. The Cantina, the Death Star, a recreation of the Endor Ewok village. There's plenty of things they could do. So, I think it's either going to be something that follows that formula, something people have been asking for a long time, or it's going to be something that ties into the new media, but is also like a bona fide hit, like the Razor Crest. So I think we'll get something. It's just, I think, we may have to wait just a little bit more, but Toy Fair is coming up next month. So that could be the time that they decide to make an announcement. So we'll see.
If it's a Naboo Starfighter, I'm going to have to partake.
Yeah. Hopefully they wouldn't need a Haslab for that, but you never know.
It was something cheap, closer to 100, in between 100 and 200.
Yeah, that wouldn't be terrible, honestly, in today's market.
Yeah.
I'm a proud toy collector. Cute Fluff says, I don't care what others think. I'm done. Others can believe what they believe while they stick to collecting stamps and coins. I collect what I love. That's the attitude to have. It's just, if you're confident in who you are and, you enjoy your hobby, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else says. If it's giving you joy, then that's the important thing. If somebody doesn't understand it or doesn't get it, then, well, that's on them. So.
Yeah, you don't need them in your life if they don't understand you.
You don't need validation from people that don't collect toys. Trust me. Stick to people like Dave who will support you.
Yes, always good.
Nick says, haven't been here since last summer. Happy to see you guys are well. Thank you, Nick. We haven't
Hey,
done
Nick.
one of these in a couple of months. So I think November was probably the last one I did sometime. So it's great to be here talking and yeah, super happy. Let's talk toys indeed. Indeed. It sounds like there may be a potential TVC Haslab. What do you think they might be doing? So I think we spoke to that already. But yeah, I think we're going to hopefully get something pretty soon here. Unless it passed her. That's not one I've seen. I haven't seen that one.
That's a movie, right? From a few years ago.
Is it?
I think so. Or maybe I'm wrong.
No, I haven't seen that one. Is it about like a pastor or something?
I don't know. Let's
No,
see.
that's weird. I haven't have not seen that one. Is if something goes on clearance within 90 days of when you purchase the full price, you can buy it again and return the full price one. Yeah, that is true. Again, I don't think that necessarily helps in terms of the market, but yeah, I mean, you can do that, and people do.
I've done that.
Do that. Yeah, I mean, you can't blame people for taking advantage of a deal. I mean, money isn't the easiest thing to come by. So
I did that with the Anton Merrick and Galen Urso. Is that what I have them on pre-order for like a year and 2 months or something? They came in, and like the week I got them, they were on clearance for like $6. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Though I don't collect TVC, I always enjoy watching their Haslabs because at least they fund. Very true. I had friends, kid ask even why do you have toys? I said, because I like them too. Dude's Nerdery, how's it going, my friend? Thank you for joining us. Collect what brings you joy, keep within a budget. Yes. The best thing to do if you're considering collecting is making sure that you have a focus, making sure that there's parameters that you're willing to collect within, whether it's focusing on a character, whether it's focusing on a toy line, a movie, or whatever it is. That's the best way to contain it. Otherwise, you'll become a Victoria or a Dave, and you'll start branching out and buying,
yeah, you had that podcast a few years ago with I think where people sent stuff in, and you had Dan Larson, and that was what he was harping on, was focus on your collection, stay within your means, your budget, and focus. So that's good advice.
Yeah, that was good advice. I mean, definitely, it's got to be like anything, right? You got to live within your means. Toys you can't let your hobby, no matter what it is, take over your life. It's a hobby because it's extra, right? It's an add-on. It's not an essential, but it's something that, I mean, I guess it kind of is like mentally an essential, I mean, if it's ingrained within your identity, like it is with us, then it is essential, I mean, I can't picture my, like, not having like certain collectibles or toys. But yeah, it is like anything, can get out of hand. It's easy to become irresponsible, and it could, if you're thinking about in terms of like your space, your house, your apartment, whatever, toy collections grow. Houses usually do not. So, always something to be mindful of when you're making that next purchase. And I say that as the Proton Pack Haslab is en route to me right now, which I have no idea where that's going to go.
Can't wait to see that. Yeah, next time. You better be busting some ghosts live.
Yeah, I have my Neutrona wand. I'll plug it in. I'll grab a lightsaber, and then I'll do Jedi ghost busting. Yeah. Well, it's time to bring the lightsaber out. It's been a minute. Where is it? All right. Let's see. Who do we get next?
I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
Yes.
Luke.
So cool.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Well, that's really clear. That really cuts through. They can hear that great.
Yeah, it is.
That's amazing. Where's the speaker at? It looks so great.
The speaker is it doesn't have speaker holes, but it's just like inside. Like if you were to take off the pommel cap, it's like under there.
That's amazing. That's cool.
It is. It's really loud, and it has a volume control, so you can like
turn
off the sound completely, or you can make it loud. I think I have it like in the middle-ish.
I will be the most powerful Jedi ever.
I hadn't even heard that one, so I'm still finding new things on this thing.
That's cool.
Geonosis sounds. That is cool. Sorry, I feel like I'm flexing, but it's so good. I'm like so excited about that thing. Anyway, sorry to get out of hand with the lightsaber. All right, who else is with us? So I'll be shocked if we see another Black Series Haslab at any time. I'm still salty about the Rancor. I don't think we're going to get another Black Series Haslab, and that doesn't necessarily make me happy. It's just kind of where I see things, because the Rancor didn't fund the. I know that the lightsaber isn't technically like a 6-inch scale Black Series thing, but it still falls under the umbrella, for better or for worse, unjustly. But I think we lost Dave. We'll get him back in as soon as we can. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be another. I mean, even like a lot of the little vehicles didn't fund. The most likely thing we would see would be the X-Wing, because I know for a fact they did tool up a 6-inch X-Wing. It was never released. I think it was an original trilogy X-Wing, I believe. But I don't see it happening, because I don't think the confidence is there that it would fund, unfortunately. But, you know, I don't even know that I would buy that. It's just like, I don't know if I need a really big like X-Wing. Even the 3 3/4-inch ones are just so awkward and difficult to like put on shelves because of the wings. But it would be cool to see. I would admire it from afar. I shall continue asking for this from Hasbro. Yes, I know my suggestion is completely bland. All I want from BC is both Bespin Han and Luke Skywalker with updated faces. Yeah, we need, those are a must for sure at some point. We need to get those figures. Love all the questions. Great questions. Thank you for sending them in. Black Series Snow Speeder was 115 with the figure. Would love a Naboo fighter for Black Series. That would be cool to see. I would love to see that. Naboo Starfighter has some good reuse value with the 2 paint schemes. Yeah, absolutely. Do people collect Dino Riders? Yeah, so the Dino Riders, I actually have some in my collection, but they are, they're the ones that I didn't know they were Dino Riders when I was a kid. What I used to do is I would go with my grandma or my mom to flea markets when I was like really little, and I would always look for dinosaurs. That was like my thing, going with them, you know, being really excited on a Saturday morning to go with my grandma to the flea market to look for dinosaurs, you know, of all kinds. This was before Kenner Jurassic Park existed, and I would buy dinosaurs, and I had some Dino Riders that made their way into the collection. I didn't know until several years back now that they were actually Dino Riders, because at the time at the flea markets, they didn't have like the saddles or anything like that. It was just like the dinosaurs, and you know, you'd put the batteries in and they would move around and walk. Really cool stuff. But I didn't know at the time that that's what those were. But so yeah, technically I do have those, but not quite. They're not mint. My mother still has those at her house, but they're not mint by any means. Dave.
I don't know, Ghost or something. I had this little Hammond collection Allen in front of my fan, and my computer just shut down.
It's because you need one of these. You need one of this. You need one of these.
I know.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
Well, I'm back, I guess, for now. What a night.
Yeah, you need one of those. Let's see here. I love all the activity in the comments. Awesome. Hammond collection and the quality issues plaguing the line, just like Amber collection. Yeah, so I made that video. I guess it's almost been a couple of years now. Everything wrong with the Hammond collection, with the Amber collection, and the thing that I stress out with Mattel about is that I love what they've done with the Jurassic line in terms of making it an evergreen line that is out all year long, isn't seasonal, and consistently sells through. You know, the prices have gone up slightly across many segments, but they haven't gone up like in huge increments like Hasbro stuff has. the issue I have with Mattel though is that they don't really know how to cater to a collector audience. They're more about producing mass-produced toys to sell, over across the blanket market. So like the Amber collection and the Hammond collection are geared towards more of that more discerning adult collector. But I don't think they really know that community very well. And I think that's why we see a lot of the issues that we do. And these are things that I wish would get better. And, when I've had opportunities to talk about it a little bit, I've made those ideas clear. But unless you're there making those decisions, obviously you can't, your influence isn't going to be huge unless it's a company that's really like listening. But that's what I see as the main thing with Mattel's like Hammond collection and Amber collection is that they don't really understand what the adult sector wants, what mature discerning collectors are about. And that's why I think a lot of little details and stuff fall through the cracks, and some of the QC stuff is what it is because they're not really treating it like an adult collectible. They're still kind of treating it more like a toy. And I think that's kind of where those little failures are happening at.
Yeah, I agree. You see the same problems from the main line making their way into these collector lines, Hammond and Amber. And I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. They probably are using the same vendors, the same factories and everything to produce everything, so they're getting the same results, whether it's for mainline or these so-called collector lines.
Yeah.
But what would you think if they ever split the license up with like they do with Turtles or something like that, and see another company like a Super 7 or NECA or something making a collector line of Jurassic stuff?
I think that would probably be for the best in terms of producing an adult collectible line.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want it. I'd be very particular about where it goes, though. I know Hasbro did a really crap job on Jurassic World in 2015. They really did. They really botched it, and the potential was there for it to be a great toy line, and it just wasn't. If you gave it to like the Hasbro that developed in the years after that, that was making photoreal on Marvel Legends and was innovating the articulation systems on figures, they could have produced something even greater than what Mattel has done at this point. More expensive, probably.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of sad. I mean, as great as Mattel has done with it, seeing some of these Plasma series, Marvel Legend, these adventure series from Indiana Jones in that 6-inch line, because the Amber collection was 6.5. It was a little big compared to everything. It doesn't really fit in with the other lines. But yeah, what could have been, but at the same time, look what we got.
Yeah, it's frustrating because obviously we're buying this stuff because we want to and we can and we like to support it, but it's just one of those things. I think it would need to be like Super 7, or it would need to be, I don't want to say McFarlane because I don't think McFarlane would necessarily do a great job with Jurassic, but some other company that focuses on strictly on that, understands the adult audience. Like Super 7 totally does, NECA does, McFarlane more or less does. A lot of these companies do understand what adults are looking for. Mattel just hasn't developed that yet. I don't know if it's because they haven't done the right research, they haven't talked to the right people, they haven't. I don't know. It could be any variety of reasons, but the point is, I don't think that they've really tapped into that audience, into that market. So hopefully one day that'll change. But until then, I don't think we're going to have anything that's necessarily perfect in the Hammond collection, or if they ever go back to the Amber collection, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels icky complaining about it, but it could be better. It really could be. But we've gotten some awesome stuff. So
yeah,
it's a balancing act, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's better than nothing. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing. Way better than nothing. Collect the micro squadrons. Dave, do you collect any of those?
No, I mean I see them every time. I've wanted to pick up the TIE Fighter, the X-Wing, Millennium Falcon, the Slave One. I just haven't. I don't know. Buying other things, more interested in that, but they look great, amazing.
Yeah, I've mostly stayed away from them. I do have the Millennium Falcon. I do have the Republic gunship because they're like my two favorite ships in
Mhm.
Star Wars. But I haven't really gone beyond that. And I'm hoping that I don't. It's tempting sometimes because they're cool, but the deco on those is just unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things I've wanted to collect and I sort of left open as like gift potentials for like my family or whatever. And they'd said they almost bought me the Millennium Falcon for my birthday last year, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Falcon is really looks really nice. It has a really nice paint deco on it. Can totally see the TVC Haslab being the indoor AT-AT, though I want the Ewok Village. Just seems to run with the theme of the indoor vehicles and playsets they've revealed. Yeah, so I mean, I'm really happy with the current indoor AT-AT that came out in the Vintage Collection in 2012, 2013. It's nice. The deco for like the legs, the muddy look isn't the best, but I'm happy with it. I don't know if they would need to do a new version for Haslab to bring that back. But I think it'd be a good idea for them to repack an AT-AT at least. I know it'd be a lot more pricey than it was originally. But I know a lot of people missed, some of those other ones, and it's been a long time. So if you started collecting within the last 10 years, you probably don't have an AT-AT because they're $500 on eBay or more. So that would be a wise one for them to bring back if they could, even if it was $200 or whatever. It would still be a good one to bring back to the market.
Mhm.
Justin says he did collect Dino Riders and that they were pretty cool. They were. The electronics on them were really, the ones that I had anyway, that I didn't know were Dino Riders at the time. The animatronic features are cool. I know I had like the Patasaurus where it would walk, but its neck would go like side to side as it was walking. That was really fun. The T-Rex with the wheels on its tail and on its feet, and it would like its legs would go back and forth. I think I had a Triceratops too. Those are the only three I believe that I may have had.
Yeah, I got them like secondhand, and I just thought they were generic dinosaur toys. I think I had the pterodactyl and the Deinonychus, I think.
Yeah.
Was the
Yeah, it was the same here because they were from flea markets. So I didn't know
Mhm.
that they were Dino Riders, and they weren't complete or anything, but they worked. The electronics worked, and they were a blast to play with. So thank you, LBT Dino. I appreciate your comment. Space is the enemy. Exactly. Who invented space? Like why? Like why can't there be infinite space for things?
Hasbro needs to get on that. The ever expanding collector room. Haslab.
Yep.
It's the portal.
Star Wars, Muppets, Batman Animated, Micro Squadron. You see, I mean, that's like a lot right there. Like, that's intimidating. Like, if you were a brainy person saying, "Hey, I'm going to become a collector. That's my goal. I want to be a collector. I want to be like Dave. That's who I want to be like." You'd be overwhelmed. Like, I can't even imagine getting into toy collecting these days because, I mean, the amount of choices that there are and the prices being what they are, and just the whole thing is crazy. Like, it's really changed in the last decade. Like when I started the channel, like it was still kind of like the old guard, I guess, if you want to call it, like, the old system of, Hasbro was doing super articulated mainstream figures, and, it was good times. It was like, and Black Series was I think was just going to come out, or it came out a few months after. It was a different time, but then like that market just like through the roof, especially when The Force Awakens came out, like that around that era. That's when like collecting across the board, not just Star Wars, across the board, really exploded. You started seeing all kinds of people getting into it, and that hadn't even been collecting before, like really get into stuff. But I can't imagine like coming in as a new collector today, and I would just be overwhelmed. There's too many things that have already been done, and like where do you start, and how do you put if you're collecting like Star Wars, for example, and you're getting into it, how would you put together a crew of the main and New Hope characters without going to eBay? I mean, it'd be really overwhelming. And then if you talk like TVC, like the vehicles, like, oh, I need a Millennium Falcon, it's like a really important thing. Oh, I need a TIE Fighter, I need an X-Wing. And just it'd be crazy. I'm glad that I'm not in that situation. Because I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't collect at all if that was the case.
Yeah, I would suggest someone who's jumping in right now, just patience. Time goes faster than you think. You don't need it all right away. You don't always have to go back to eBay. You know, you can go to flea markets,
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace, and these toy companies, when something's popular, it's gonna come back around. They're gonna re-release it. If you want to make a custom, go for it, but you don't have to. You know, don't buy two, three, four to make a custom because the toy company will probably get to it. If it
Mhm.
takes 2 years, 5 years, you know, they'll
Yeah.
get around to it.
Yeah, that's really the key is, and it's really hard as a collector because if you know something already exists, it's hard not to push that buy it now button on eBay and add it to your collection. But it's just one of those things that things generally in the toy collecting world come back around. And I
Hmm.
know like people were freaking out when the NECA cartoon turtles went on sale for the first and the second time and even the third time maybe, and then they sold out. I'm like, oh, they're never going to make them again. And then they came back out the fourth time, the fifth time, with new paint, with new articulation. So I mean, it's like that with a lot of this stuff. Not everything. I mean, some things come around once and that's it. You got to jump on.
Yeah.
You got to get in while the getting's good. But most of the time, things come back. Especially Black Series does that a lot, right? They repack things, they
Hmm.
make updates, better facial paint, better whatever, and they come back. So I mean, that is a really good advice is be patient, don't go all in at once, and that can even be detrimental because you might do that and then they might come up with an updated version a month later.
Hmm.
Like you never know, you just never know.
Yeah, the Force Awakens Han Solo for Black Series was one that for whatever reason I never found. I never was able to get it the first time around. And I wanted it since it came out. And I remember, almost pulling the trigger, buying it at a few dollars over retail. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna. And I ended up paying like $10 for the archive one that actually has a better face paint on the head. Just waited all these years, and now I have an even better one for a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
So if you can be patient with something like that, like I was, you might get a better deal and you might get a better product also.
yeah, totally. I think we're due for another sound font check here. See who comes up. Yoda.
Nice.
It has this feature called smooth swing, so it moves when you swing it. Like the Hasbro ones don't do that because they have like
Okay.
I think it's called an accelerometer, but it doesn't react right away. The
Mhm.
smooth swing is like instantaneous.
That's cool.
As you see,
Nice.
my Jedi powers are far beyond yours.
Oh, Dooku.
I wish we would have gone more Dooku in the movies. We didn't get nearly enough of him.
Yeah. Oh, the Tales of the Jedi with the Dooku. Oh man, that was amazing. I had so much fun with that and watched that twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I watched it twice as well. And yeah, like those Dooku episodes are my favorite. They were like, it was really like eye-opening. I mean, because
Yeah.
it added to the lore of it all, but we
It was
needed
weird
more.
that Ahsoka was in there too, and I was
Yeah.
more interested in Dooku. It
Yep.
was
Totally. Yeah, because it's a story that hasn't really been tapped into. We've seen him in the Clone Wars and in the movies, but we haven't really gotten his backstory. I mean, they've touched on it a little bit in the novels and the comics and stuff, but actually seeing it like was kind of hit in a different way. So yeah, I wish we would have gone to see more from the movies, just like more background or more, because we didn't get much of him at all.
Mm-mm.
Lots of action here in the comments here. I feel like I'm trying to not lose sight of anything that has been put in here. Hope that this live stream doesn't get a copyright strike. Yeah, I hope not. I don't think so, but
Yeah.
it's YouTube. I know I still don't understand YouTube after all these years. They change the rules all the time too. The key is to make lots of money and buy a bigger house. Message well received. Yep, go for it. Recently moved to an apartment and keeping space is difficult, but one of my roommates helps me look for figures I'm missing. As long as I meet the rent, they don't care. We all collect something. There you
Nice.
go. Whatever you can make work, by all means, that's cool. You could always sell some figs to make space. So I have a hard time with this because I get emotionally attached to things. And with most of my collectibles, like I remember like what headspace I was in when I bought it, what was going on in my life, who bought it for me, you know, what store did I find it at, what were the circumstances of that, you know, of the toy lane at that time. Like I remember all these things, and I have a hard time letting go of things. Now I have let go of things, and it's usually things that I'm not as invested in or things that I don't get too attached to, but I do like form attachments with my collectibles, I guess. And that makes it difficult as a collector, you know, to rein it in and to let certain things go. Like I could never let go of certain things. It just would not be possible. You know, a lot of things I couldn't let go of, but
oh yeah. Now that just means you're doing it for the right reasons, I think. Kind of my pet peeve is when you're on any of these toy collecting pages and immediately someone joins the group and they're just like, I have this thing, how much is it worth? You know, if just thinking about it as terms of monetary, I'm just like, maybe you're not in the hobby for the right reasons.
Exactly. Yeah, like that's a big part of it for sure. You know, if it's not something you want to do because it's going to bring you joy and make you happy, then there's really not a point to doing it. I mean, it's never going to be that, you know. And it's funny too, because a lot of the time when you look at like eBay or you go to collectible shows and stuff, like they're selling these toys for like $5 above MSRP or $10. It's like, is it really worth it to have to store that figure for X amount of time in order and transport it across to over here and then make this off of it? You know, it's like, it's just, you know, for some people, some things do go up in value and stuff, and that's cool if that's what you're in for. I mean, I know that I do see that a lot with like Hot Toys. Like some people definitely get into those, and Lego also, they get into those because the value shoots up. And I guess, you know, if that's what they're into, okay. But I mean, is that necessarily like, if you're not getting enjoyment out of it, you're using it as an investment, is that really bringing you joy? Is that really being in it because your heart's in it for the right reason? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, to each their own, you know, what if that's what makes them happy, I guess, but a little odd.
Yep. Milky Way Skywalker, thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Good to see you. Part of what the TBS community needs is to understand that our scale just won't allow for certain vehicles. Yeah, I mean, you're never going to see a Black Series Death Star. I mean, you may see like a couple of walls and like a console and a chair, maybe, but you're not going to see like a Star Destroyer or a Millennium Falcon. It just wouldn't be feasible. And I mean, you know, I would say the same thing with Hot Toys. That, you know, if you're collecting a larger scale, then I mean, certain things just aren't going to work out. Certain things just aren't going to happen. You know, each line has its own intent and its own focus, and you know, it's up to the collector to decide what their personal focus and interest is. So there's a lot of things out there. So, you know, make sure that it's something that you enjoy. Rolando, hello. Thank you for joining us. The early bird special for the 12 in the VC and TVC, even as some are recent repacks. Vader Stormtrooper. Yeah, the original 12. Yeah, they should bring those back. I mean, I know they recently did the Stormtrooper like through Walmart and then later through the online stores and stuff, but some of those are like evergreen. Like Vader is probably always going to sell. Stormtroopers are always going to sell. Boba Fett's always going to sell. So they should definitely have some of those original 12 coming back out in circulation. Would be nice to see.
Yeah, I always feel like troopers and clones and stuff should just always be in almost every wave.
Yeah.
Or just be case packed, you know, always there.
Yeah, definitely. Why is that shelf empty behind you, Vic? What's going on there? Oh, you mean this one right here. Okay, so I was making room because that's where the ATTE is going to go. I've never had it out of the box assembled. I bought it in 2008 at Toys R Us Express in the mall, which is kind of like their little clearance store. And it was in 2008. And I think I paid $50 for it. But I've never taken it out and assembled it. So I have the turbo tank right there. Up here, I'm going to put the ATT, but I was in the process of clearing that off so that I could work that in. Yeah, so that's why that's empty. The ATT is going to go there. I'm going to set up all of Ahsoka's 332nd troopers there with her, and it's going to be
So cool.
fun. The Hasbro Mace Windu to Mattel Ray Arnold was yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like Mattel just doesn't really do like adult collectibles. They try and they say that they do, and I know they try, but they're just not really hitting the mark with what collectors are expecting in 2023. So yeah, that was a rough thing to see going from one company to the other.
I got the Marvel Legends Captain Marvel Nick Fury around the same time as that Amber collection Ray Arnold came out, and I was just looking at the two figures. I'm like, is there a way that I could make this head fit on this bigger body? It's just so much better, the Hasbro one.
I know, it's something. Always wanted an X-Wing to hang from the ceiling. Yeah, that's cool. I've never hung my vehicles from the ceiling. I think I would be too paranoid that they're going to fall and they're going to break, and then it would look cool. And maybe with certain small lightweight ones, I would do that, but like I wouldn't put the Millennium Falcon hanging, or I wouldn't put like the Slave One hanging, because those are heavy, and I would just be too like nervous that they're going to fall. And then I would start worrying, okay, if I tie them with fishing line, is the fishing line going to rub on the plastic and wear the paint? Like those are the kind of things I would think about.
Yeah.
Because I'm a weirdo. Figure arts, but not at their premium price points. Yeah, Bandai can do some pretty cool stuff. Even some of their mass market, like the Dragon Ball line, is pretty decent. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's like Black Series or Marvel Legends quality necessarily, but it's decent. They could probably do okay. The thing with Bandai is like I feel like they oftentimes will try things, and then if it doesn't like work right away, they'll just pull it. Like they won't keep trying. Like, Mattel and Hasbro, they'll make a few waves to see what sticks, but Bandai, a lot of the time, depending on what it is, they'll make like one wave, and if it doesn't sell, they'll like stop the whole thing. So what would be a good one for Jurassic toys? Well, I would just say the one dinosaur from the original films, and I think Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom at least, that has not yet been made, and that's the Corythosaurus. Because we know the Mamenchosaurus is coming out due to that photo leak, which is the really, really big sauropod. It's going to be really long. I think it's going to be the longest one. But Corythosaurus is like the last one they have not made from those movies. So that would, like, if they were going to end the line and say, hey, we're making one more dinosaur, I'd be like, well, make the one you haven't made from the movies. It's got to be that Corythosaurus.
Good pick.
Sergeant Curtis, how's it going? How's it going in Michigan? Problem with NECA and McFarlane for me is that they, other than their stables, they don't commit to franchises for too long and are left missing key figures. Plus, NECA QC can be iffy. I know I was talking about this on Twitter, but I really want to know who's going to make the Wednesday action figures, because I'm going to be all in 100% when that happens. And I know they're going to do it. I mean, the marketing, something's going to happen. So I really want Hot Toys to get the license too, because I would love to have like Hot Toys figures of those characters. But I definitely want to see like a mass produced, like kind of like Black Series, or something that's like quality, but not like ridiculous, like over the price, like Mesco pricing, something that's like fairly mass produced would be cool to see.
Yeah, I agree.
I refuse to buy NECA. I value quality. I stick with vintage usually, but I picked up some new Mattel toys. Yeah, you got to really pick and choose. If a toy should, at its most fundamental level, be able to stand, it should be able to be functional. If it has articulation, those joints need to work. If it's not a statue and it has joints, you should be able to manipulate it right out of the box without heating it up, without putting it in water, without doing this or that. A toy should work right out of the box. I don't care if it's a $200 figure or a $10 figure. It's all the same in terms of what it should be able to do. There's no reason that joints should break, that you should have to buy a heater, blow dryer
Mhm.
or whatever to heat something up, because that's just kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments about the micro squadrons. Yeah, a lot of people are into that, and that's awesome. I love that, but it's just like one of those things. I have a couple. I've been really good about not getting into it like too much. But if, I know that if I started buying more, okay, like, well, I bought this one, so how can I not buy that one? And then,
Yeah.
okay, now I got to
Slippery
buy this
slope.
and that and this and that. So it's like,
I'll have to go to Target tomorrow and see if there's something I can. Maybe I'll grab something.
yeah, yeah, for
You all
sure.
got me now. Yeah, see, there's a super chat in here.
Oh, cool. Nick Doe, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. We really appreciate that. Thank you for carrying the TVC torch. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Vintage collection is definitely, I would say, like, of all the toy lines I collect, and there's a number of them, my favorite one to collect is TVC, because the 3 3/4 inch Star Wars line is something I've been buying since '96 when I got into the Power of the Force 2. And I got into it and I stuck with it from then until now. And it's just probably the biggest aspect of my collection is 3 3/4 inch Star Wars. And it's got heritage, it's got history. It's just that, the whole toy line going back to 1978. So, I mean, it's a really important, I think it's culturally an important toy line. Historically, it's an important toy line. And in terms of Star Wars being like the biggest franchise of all time, I mean, it speaks for itself, how important TVC is. So I think that is a line that must never go away. It's a line that must always be cherished and honored, but it's also a line that needs to be handled appropriately, and not oversaturated, not overproduced, but also not underproduced, like we're seeing with a lot of things. There's a lot of issues I have with TVC right now, because I'm concerned about the health of the toy line. I know sometimes on like social media, I'll make a criticism or I'll say something, but it's because I care about the line. The health of the toy line is really important to me, and I want to see it flourish and continue to develop and continue to evolve and continue to be sold in stores and online and whatnot. So if I do say something like, oh, this should be this or that's that, it's because, it's coming from a place of concern and passion and love for the line. It's not to be like critical or not to egg on Hasbro or, I mean, obviously we're here talking about this stuff because it's important to us. And, we collect these things because they mean a lot to us personally. And it's like, it's just so ingrained to like my identity now, collecting and Star Wars and TVC, that, if something isn't going right, it's like, well, you're going to speak up on that if you don't. And I don't see how that's really adding any value or any constructive feedback to that toy line, to the way that it's handled. So I think it's always important to speak your mind, but to do it in a respectful way, for sure.
Yeah. Well, criticism can always come from a place of love, which I think is always where it comes from when it comes from you or I or anyone. But yeah, if we just sat here and said yes, yes, yes to everything Hasbro did, they would never change or never consider anything different from the current course they're on. So yeah, if criticism doesn't mean bad all the time. Criticism can be meant to lift you up and course correct and make the best thing you possibly can, with the feedback you're getting.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And Nick Doe follows up with a couple other comments on condition to have a tool set for brand new toys. I do too. I have my little box that I have with, all the little stuff in it. I just feel like you shouldn't have to do that for something that's like brand new and is a toy. I mean, do I do it? Yes, because I don't want to break my figure, because that's a hassle to have to return and exchange. And what if it's sold out and this and that? So yeah, I'm careful, but I don't feel like that should be like, it's not mentioned on the box that you should have to do that, so I don't think you should have to do that. It's not like It's not like a piece of machinery or something where, you have to like prime it or whatever to get it to work. And then TVC has gone up in price, but so is the quality. The quality of TVC is better than it's ever been. So, some level of price increases, I'm completely okay with, and it's totally understandable that it would go up in price. But the rates at which the prices are going up is what's concerning for me. It's not just $1. It's been like a quarter of the price in a short time span. And that's, to me, that's kind of a little sus. It's, I think the biggest thing for me with Hasbro raising the prices, and this is of their own making. It's when they posted that thing on Instagram where they said, "Hey, all you people that follow us, check this thing out. We're gonna increase our profits by 50% in the next couple of years." I mean, that was really tone deaf. I mean, that was just like, you say that and you're not like, how are you not mindful of who's reading that? It's like you're supporting this brand because you love them, but it's like if you were going to buy a new car and then that company went and said, "Oh, we want to increase our profits by 50%," or you want to go and buy, I don't know, a lawnmower, and they said the same thing, or you want to go buy a loaf of bread and they said the same thing. Our profits, emphasis is on our profit. This is what we're going to do. It's like, as a consumer, that isn't really something that you should be concerned about. That's something for the company to be concerned about and their shareholders to be concerned about. But that isn't something that, you should lay on your customer base, because that's going to rub them the wrong way. And then when they see these huge price increases go into effect, they're going to remember back to that, and that's just going to make them angry. So really, that was a really poor choice on their end.
Yeah, that's saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, of course, any company is there to maximize profit, to make as much money as they can. But in all honesty, they should have just been touting the product and saying you're going to get more selection, more variety, higher quality, And then, of course, with that would come the higher prices, and that would be perfectly reasonable to say.
Yeah, for sure. Justin makes a good point here that I think going back to 5PO after years of getting more articulation was the downfall of the movie lines. My opinion. Yeah, I mean, that was a big reason that stores were less willing to take on huge waves of TVC over the last few years, because the market data, said that people weren't buying Star Wars toys because they were buying these 5POA, inexpensive 5POA figures that they were making probably a pretty good, decent profit margin on. And they were buying them in huge quantities that weren't selling through. And, so I mean, had those products been TVC from the get-go, or at least not even TVC, but like super articulated 3 3/4, the price point would have been a little bit higher. But it would have been a more quality product. So would they have ordered as many? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but that definitely did hurt the health of the line at the time. Just as now, there's other factors at play too. So it's always an interesting thing to watch, because, we want these lines to be healthy and to develop and grow and whatnot. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Collecting is not, you're not just collecting toys, you become, after a certain point, like more of an analyst, and you see the patterns, and you see, what affects the line, what affected the line back then, what's affecting it now, what issue caused this problem, how can this get, like, you start looking at all these things in terms of like historical context. And then you start like really investing like your mind into it. So you're not just a collector of toys. You're really like, I mean, almost like at a certain point, you start becoming more of like a historian and an analyst. So it's an interesting hobby for sure. It's not like scuba diving, or it's not like going to I don't know, surfing or whatever. It's it's a completely different ballgame. And I think a lot of people fail to see that when they dismiss you as, oh, it's an adult that buys toys. Joseph says, my favorite TVC package is the Shadows of the Empire design. Even though they weren't that popular, I think they were really cool. So yes, those were, Yeah, the 1990, I think it was late 97 is when those came, or 96 when those started to come out. The Shadows of the Empire line. Yeah, that was a pretty big thing at the time, because at that time there were no prequels yet, and it was just the OT and some of the books, and that really became a big thing at the time. As far as like they tried to make it into a big thing, let's say, but a lot of those figures were peg warmers and didn't sell, so it didn't last long. Holding out hope that with Archive TFA Han, they'll at least release more legacy figures from the sequels. That's a really good figure. Did you get that one, Dave?
The Han Solo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good. Like the Archive one, just like it has the new head, it has the gray hair finally.
Yeah.
Which I remember when I interviewed Hasbro, I think in 2017. They were pretty adamant that was put into mass production, but there was never a photo that popped up anywhere online to confirm this. But now it's finally happening. So it's finally like, it's a great figure. It looks awesome. Yeah, it's, even if you're not like the biggest fan of that movie per se or anything, like it's still like a great figure to have. It just looks so good.
Yeah. We need a General Leia, Jedi Master Luke. I've always wanted a Finn with the new face printing. Anyone from that movie, because we only got like Rey. We even want a Ben Solo, like a whole new figure. A lot from that movie that we didn't get. The sequel trilogy just is lacking in a lot of things. So hopefully they get there.
Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot for the last one. And I always say, whether or not you liked the movie, like, good toys are good toys, and it just feels like such a gap in the collection to look over at the shelf and see, Rey and see Kylo Ren. I mean, we don't even have Kylo Ren from The Rise of Skywalker, but seeing Rey and seeing my Return of the Jedi Palpatine that I have in there, because that's the only thing that's there. Some stormtroopers, and then a repack of Poe with his X-Wing outfit. There's just really some like gaps in those lines, and it's too bad that chances are they're probably not going to go back to those films to make more toys.
Yeah. Maybe a 10th anniversary.
maybe if we're lucky. Because great toys are great toys, and I do like the representation on my shelves of the different content, and when I can't do that because they didn't put through a good quantity of from any given movie, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, like it was kind of the blessing and the curse of the Mandalorian. They went all in on Mando, kind of glossed over Rise of Skywalker, because there's a lot of great figures in there. Even Poe, that outfit is great. Getting a John Boyega face print would have been awesome. Palpatine, a Lando. There was just so much great stuff in there, and then we did not get.
Yeah, totally. And Britt, agrees. We are complex individuals. Yes, we are. Just because we don't like the movie doesn't mean we don't want the toys. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Nick Doe says too, the movie was underserved. Yeah, I mean, on some level, we know that these companies are focused on their bottom line, and they don't want to make something that they perceive as a risk and that they think isn't going to sell. So I mean, that's understandable. But just from the collector's perspective, having those gaps in the collections can be frustrating. All right. Well, Dave, we've been going for an hour and 23 minutes, a little bit longer than I thought we were going to go.
Yeah,
and the time
you a little bit longer than me because I had some technical difficulties, but we got there.
The time has gone by really quick. I think we need to bring the graphics back and see what's next.
It's like rolling the dice. What
Do
we're gonna get?
what must be done.
Yes.
Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
Nice.
This party's over.
Ooh.
Nice. What else?
Don't insult me.
Asajj Ventress. Interesting.
Ooh.
I can bring you in warm,
Oh.
or I can bring you in cold.
Whoa. That's cool. That was unexpected. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's a fun one. That is a fun one. Well, cool. Dave, anything else you want to add on here? Anything else that we haven't touched on that you'd like to mention?
Oh no, I think we got it all. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for chatting with us. I think we really lively chat tonight, so thanks everyone.
Definitely. Really appreciate everybody that's been hanging out with us for this last bit here. It's great to be back here for social hour. It's been a long time. And there will be more social hours to come. It just won't be immediately because there's just some stuff coming up that's going to make it a little bit hard for me to do them. But we'll definitely be back probably by like mid-February or so. So I'm really looking forward to coming back and doing this as a regular thing once again. It's always a blast to hang out, spend Friday evenings talking toys. And
Wow.
Mary, that's really generous.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Really, really appreciate that. And you're a consistent viewer, so thank you for the super chat. That's just really sweet and really, really kind. So thank you for the nice birthday wishes. And I'm glad to be here, glad to be doing what I'm doing, what we're doing, and really appreciate you. Thank you very much. And thank you everybody that's been with us this evening. We really appreciate your company and your friendship, and enjoy the long weekend. Be safe, have fun, enjoy the Bad Batch while it's on.
Yes.
And we'll see you before we know it. So be well, be safe. May the force be with
See you guys.
This is the way.
Have a
Dave,
good
thank
birthday.
you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
With us. Let's just do one more. Just
Yes.
see who we get.
May the force be with you. Oh, that's cool. Nice crackle effect there.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Like our Star Wars roulette here. That's cool.
We had to end on Kyla. I'm happy with that one.
Nice.
Very happy with that.
All right. Good night, everyone. Happy New Year.
Good night, everybody. Happy New Year. Take care. Bye-bye.